live.
Got it.
Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Queen Dawnspiritk, Reiki Master Teacher. Excuse me, I'm a little tongue-tied. I'm so excited. We've been talking so much about this subject. Welcome to my community. Please share this video, like it. There's going to be a lot of phenomenal information here. We have the phenomenal Grandmaster Mo, Grandmaster Professor Mo, or it is a Grandmaster Mo Professor, correct?
Grandmaster Professor Mo.
Okay.
We can just call him Professor Mo.
Okay, Professor Mo. And we have beautiful Asmaa'a here, and we have my beautiful daughter, Jules K here. So welcome to the community. This is going to be an amazing show. Share this video. It's going to help so many and help our community and stop the human trafficking and the abuse and violence. It will help people when they have no other hope. Okay. Asmaa'a, will you please give the statistics on it?
Yes, so first I want to just define human trafficking. So according to decriminalizesex.org, human trafficking is when an individual or a group uses force, fraud, or coercion to compel another into some kind of labor, including commercial sex acts. Human trafficking is an egregious abuse of human rights and a critical public health issue that causes long-term harm to individuals and to communities. So there was plenty of stats that I looked at from many websites. Human trafficking is something that is huge, not just around the world and in other countries, but huge even in the United States. In the United States alone, between 14,500 and 17,500 people are trafficked into the United States per year and physically abused. Tourists globally, about 600,000 to 800,000 people are trafficked across international borders per year. One website was saying that 70% are female and 50% are children.
Wow.
So human trafficking is something that affects people throughout the entire world, all different types of demographic, whether you're male, whether you're female, whether you're an adult, whether you're a child. Some other statistics that I found said 40.3 million victims of human trafficking globally.
Wow.
$150 billion at least is made and earned from human trafficking. This includes children under 18. This includes adults 18 and over. There's many populations from what I found that are more vulnerable to human trafficking. Some of those populations include runaways, the homeless, youth. They're vulnerable to human trafficking. Statista.com said that in 2018, 46% of the people that were trafficked were women, 20% were men, and 19% were girls. StopTheTraffic.org said 71% were women and girls globally, 29% men and boys. So this is something that affects everyone. One other thing that I found that was pretty interesting was I was reading about the effects on the situation going on in the world right now, where a lot of people are getting sick, how that affected human trafficking. And one of the interesting things that I found was that populations that were already vulnerable became more vulnerable after the situation started, because a lot of countries were delegating the funds that they would usually use to stop or eliminate human trafficking towards the situation. So less funds went towards that, less attention went towards that. And as a result of unemployment rates increasing, people became more vulnerable to situations that included or involved human trafficking. Countries like India and Nepal, young girls from poor families were forced into marriages in exchange for money. In the United States and in the UK, some people were forced to sleep with their landlords so that they can sustain housing. So this is a major global issue. It affects us here. It affects us everywhere. So we have to be safe. We have to be careful. We have to be mindful of our surroundings. Something really great that Master Mo mentioned before we went live was about women having drinks and not watching their drinks when they go out. I have one friend from college. She knows who she is. She used to pass out every time we would hang out. She would overdrink, pass out, and we would try to like lug her home. Luckily, she wasn't heavy. We would have to lug her home. But I'm laughing about it, but it's really not a laughing situation. I'm just making a little light of it. But one thing that my mom always was big about is not allowing just anyone to buy drinks. Because things are slipped in there like roofies. And when you lose your sense of awareness, you're vulnerable to a lot. So this can happen to, again, females, males, children. Children are very, very much at risk of human trafficking, but not only children, all of us are. So I just wanted to mention that to everyone.
Thank you so much, Asmaa'a. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to go with my daughter, Jules, and she's going to tell you her experience. It was really one of the most frightening moments of my life to see my child be stalked before my eyes on FaceTime, along with my other daughter. And luckily she had the support system, even though I was freaking out. My husband was in the background. He said he was having an anxiety attack, but I couldn't tell because mine was through the roof. And I just prayed to my ancestors and God and the spirit guides to protect her, to bring her back home safely. But luckily she had that support system. But what about the ones that don't have that support system? What about the ones that are drugged? Right. What about the ones that don't have anyone to call or they don't have a phone? What about the ones that are being tricked? And, I've experienced things of abuse in the past in my life prior to my husband, and I can't stand a bully. I can't stand anyone being mistreated. That's why I do this channel, because I want to teach people how to heal themselves, because we're all born healers, but also how to protect themselves, because there's a lot of hurt people out here, and hurt people hurt people. Yeah. And I'm going to give Jules the floor so she can tell you her whole experience, but I felt like the room was spinning around. The room was spinning around me when I was seeing what she was experiencing right before my eyes.
Yeah.
So, Jules, the floor is yours, honey.
Okay. I'm going to try not to be too wordy or lengthy because there's a lot of information. First thing, I do want to say that I am considered a world traveler. I've been to close to, if not more than 30 countries. I've traveled by myself. I've traveled with groups. I've traveled with my coworkers. And I do have a free spirit habit of going out by myself. Because as a flight attendant, a lot of times when we go to these international countries, sometimes our coworkers don't want to hang out with us because they're super senior. I mean, by like 30 years. And they've been to these countries a million times and they don't want to hang out. So going into Rome, I knew that I had a list of things I wanted to do. I knew places I wanted to go. I even bought a personal tour to the Vatican City by myself because I knew I had things I wanted to get done while I was in Rome and I only had 24 hours. So with that being said, I didn't want anybody to stop me. When I went out, I carried my work phone, which has my location on it. It also has Google Maps where I can search where I'm going to go and I can follow that. I have my personal phone that has an international business plan on it so that I can use that whenever I'm out. And then I also have these Ray-Ban glasses that my partner Bailey bought me where I can record 30-second videos and take pictures. So I have these things with me. I'm ready, but the whole time I'm planning on going out, I honestly did not prepare myself for anything but to sightsee, buy some trinkets and souvenirs, and just enjoy Rome for the day. That was my mindset. That was my tunnel vision. So with that being said, I had no idea that I should have been looking out for someone watching me. So here we are throughout the day, I'm walking, and as I'm walking, I'm noticing people are looking at me, and I'm like, why do people keep looking at me? Like, this is really weird. And I'm like, not trying to think twice about it, but I am noticing the stares and the glares and the eyes turning, the heads turning, and like, I noticed that I'm being looked at by people or being watched. And so I go on about my business, and then it dawned on me. I said, oh my God, there are no Black people in Rome. I'm looking around, there are no Black people. There aren't even a lot of Black tourists, honestly. And the only Black people are the Africans that are selling trinkets. And there aren't a lot of them. There are very far and few in between. They stay in little groups, and they're just not a lot. So I did not see a lot of Black people that day. I get to the Coliseum. Again, I'm taking pictures. I'm setting my phone up. I'm taking pictures on my glasses. You know, I'm just really taking it in and enjoying myself. And there was a bar right around the corner of the Coliseum, and I saw a rainbow flag. So I said, oh, let me go there. It's a rainbow flag, gay friendly. Let me see what they have to offer. And so I went over there, and a friend of mine actually told me about the place, but she had went with other people. And so I didn't dawn on me that was the place she had been talking about. So I went, and again, I'm alone, and I sit down, and as soon as I sit down, there were a few people. There were about 7 tables. If I can visually remember, there are about 7, maybe 8 tables in this little clear plastic tent that I'm sitting at on the sidewalk. And when I sat down, there were 3 tables, 2 tables and then me. So I was the 3rd table, and I was the only solo traveler sitting at a table. And I see people walking back and forth, and this guy caught my eye, walking, you know, past me. And I kind of turned my head a little bit, and he turned his head, and I noticed. Then he walked back the other way, and I said, that was weird. He was just walking this way. Why is he going back that way? Then I saw him come back again the 3rd time. And that's when my antennas went up. Like, okay, I've been watched all day. I've had people looking at me all day, but this doesn't feel normal. So the 3rd time I saw him come back again, and he's making eye contact with me. It wasn't like he was like shy about it. Like we saw each other. So he walks behind the tent that I'm sitting at, and he goes across the street, and it's a narrow street because it's one way. It's a narrow one-way street. And so we're close. We can see each other. If I said, hey, he could hear me. But I was sitting in a tent, and that's when the ordeal really started for me. By this time I'd already had a drink. I was waiting for my food to come, and then my food came. Then I had another drink. So now I'm buying time because I'm like, something doesn't feel right. Like, this guy is still here. This feels weird. So I text my partner, Bailey, and I said, hey, at 5:09 is when I noticed him. When I messaged her, I'm sorry. And I said, hey, just want to let you know someone's following me. I'm not being funny. I'm uncomfortable. And she's like, well, what do you mean? Talk to the staff, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, give me a second. I at least want you to know what's going on. Because your partner, you know, outside of your family, your partner's going to fight for you. You know, she wanted me to come home. So I knew to tell her. And then once I told her, we sent a few text messages, and then our line went blank. I could no longer text her. She could no longer text me. And I was logged into Wi-Fi. And I have an international plan. Our communication stops. So I'm thinking she's just busy at work. She doesn't want to talk. So I send another message. I started recording him on my glasses. And I'm pointing to him. And I'm like, hey, guys, this guy's following me. There he is, blah, 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 blah. He's watching me. And he turned around and looked at me as I'm recording him on my glasses. He's looking over his shoulder. Then he turns around and leans up against the rail, and he's looking at me, looking at him. I'm like, okay, now we know we see each other. Once I was finished with that, I went on Instagram Live. I never go live on Instagram or Facebook. So I went on Instagram Live, and I said, hey, I'm just letting y'all know what's going on. This is what's happening. I just want to let people know what's happening. And I pointed to him again. Then I sent the video I took on my glasses. I sent it to my family. And the whole time, y'all, I don't know. I just knew that in my head, I had to tell as many people as possible what was going on. Now, mind you, I did not wake up that day thinking that I had to be aware of my surroundings or I could be trafficked or watched. that wasn't even in my head. I was just so excited to enjoy Rome. So it was like something clicked in my head immediately to start taking notes about what was going on. That's when I sent the message to my family group chat. It's probably like close to 10 of us in the group chat. My mom, my sister, my dad, my brother, a bunch of us are, my cousins, we're all in this chat together. And I send it to them. I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. My mom and my sister call me. My sister and my mom are calling me simultaneously. So I answered my sister, was like, hey, let's call mommy. I want y'all on the phone. That's trying to know what's going on. So as I'm talking to them, I'm in tears at this point because I know what's happening. I can feel it. Again, I've traveled the world. I've been out in London by myself all day. I've been in Paris by myself all day. I hang out in these other countries and I enjoy being alone sometimes. So I know when something doesn't feel right. And so I'm on the phone with them. I'm in tears. I'm showing my mom and my sister on FaceTime this guy. He's ducking behind cars. He's peeping and looking. And he goes across, he walks away. It's like, okay, he's leaving. He crosses a bridge and goes to the other side of the canal. And he leans over the rail of the canal and continues to watch. Me and him are like, he and I are like this. We're parallel to each other. And I'm like, okay, this is happening. I'm thinking he's about to walk away, but I stay. Something says, do not get up, stay. I waited, and I'm glad I waited because he came back and continued to watch me from the original spot he was in. And my mom and my sister see this the whole time. So I'm not making this up. This is not in my head. This is what is happening to me. I asked the server, I let the server know what's going on. He's like, after he and I talked the whole time about, everything, my food, my meal, what I wanted, what I'm doing here, blah, blah, blah. And I try not to give too much information. Oh, I'm a flight attendant. I try not to tell people that too much. So I'm like trying not to give him as much information. Oh, I'm just sightseeing. And so when I asked for his help, I said, I need the police. I'm being followed. Can you call the police? And he was like, police? I was like, I'm being followed. I'm not safe. I don't feel safe. And he says, I don't understand English. Talk to my friend, and then walked away from me and never came back. But by this time I'd been there so long, I'd had drinks, I'd had food, I closed my tab, everything was done. And I'm still sitting in this spot. I watched the table in front of me get turned 3 times and I'm still sitting here because I can't move. And so he doesn't come back. So I call the police on my work phone. My work phone is at 10% by this point. Because I had been on my work phone since the night before because we flew in and landed that morning. So I'm on my work phone. It's 10%. My own cell phone the battery's starting to go low. I don't want to go up to my mom, my sister. It was just the craziest experience. And I'm just grateful that my mom and my sister, they were there. They answered the phone. They talked to me. And my mom can be, a bit frantic for obvious reasons. I'm in another country. She can't get to me. So she's panicking. And me and my sister are trying to calm her down while I'm trying to stay calm. I'm on the phone. And I had 1,000,001 things going on in that moment. But it was something I felt like a slight sense of calmness because I knew that although I had not prepared for it that day, something set in me, which is so amazing but scary to say. It's like something in me knew that I was doing everything the right way. And something said to me, do not get up from this table. Do not stop communication. Do not leave until you're ready. You're doing everything the right way. It's literally what this voice, like someone was talking to me. I'm not lying. I'd never experienced this before. And it's a little emotional because again, I've traveled. And so just to be calm and know to take these steps. But what triggered me is that people were watching me all day. And that's what triggered me. There were no Black people in Rome. That's what triggered me. So for those reasons, I knew to keep my head on swivel. And that's why I was just constantly looking around and I'm like, have these glasses on. And I'm like, well, if you're going to watch me, I'm going to watch you. That's how I started to feel about people throughout the day because it was so obvious. But what if it didn't trigger me at the beginning of the day? And what if I had just went on with my day and continued to sightsee like I normally do in every country I go in? I walk. I usually don't take Ubers. I enjoy walking. So I'm just thinking what if I didn't have that situational awareness that I had? What if I did not have that? and I got up from that table and I went on about my business, I know it would have ended differently. So again, I messaged all these people. I messaged my coworkers that I'm about to meet up with that night for dinner. The lead flight attendant on my trip was like, I'm headed to you now, stay put. I dropped him my pen. It was a 20-minute walk for him to get to me. Soon as I see him, I'm looking at him like, our masks off, we look different. And so I was like, is that him? I think that's him. And so I jumped up and I like darted towards him, and he's trying to like play a role like, hey friend, how are you? I was like, no, we need to get out of here. I don't want to do the, hey, how are you conversation. You know how I am. I'm not okay. And so as soon as I jumped up, my phone went dead for my mom and my sister. Mind you, I have an international plan. My phone went dead. I could no longer communicate with my mom and my sister. He and I start walking, and I'm looking around. I do not see this man anywhere. I'm trying to find him. I'm looking. I don't see him. And by the time it had been over an hour, and then once I got to another location in Rome, which was like a 20-minute walk, it was about like 1.5 miles from where I was originally. Once I got there, all my messages came flooding in from all my family, all my friends, people that were concerned. All these messages came in like, hey, how are you? Where are you going? And even the messages that my partner sent me while I was still sitting in the restaurant, those messages showed up over an hour later with the original timestamps. So she was messaging me and I was messaging her, but our messages weren't going through. So it was now I sit in here and I think about like, wow, like I can't believe I got out of that situation. But the craziest part is, as a Black woman, people don't realize the amount of danger that we are in 24/7, regardless of where we are. And
can I stop you 1 second, Jules? I apologize. Share your location, services with at least 3 people that you can trust. Because when I was on the phone with her, I was shooting her locations. And I was able to pull up the restaurant she was at.
Yeah.
Even though I was unable to call. I share my location services with my children, my husband. I share my services. Share your services, people, and put a lock on your phone.
Yeah. So when I thank you, mommy. So when I went, when I got on the van the next morning, my coworkers that I had met up with, they told the other coworkers, my other crew members, what happened. And a lady, a white lady said, she looked at me and she said to me, I can only imagine what you've been through because I've never had to go through that. She said, but there are no Black people in Rome. I said, I know. She said, so I know for a fact you were terrified. She said, and as a white woman, I don't have those problems. I said, do you know I Google every new city I go to, I Google how safe it is for African-American women to travel in that city. And she says, and I don't have that problem. I said, I know. She says, but I know for a fact what you're saying is true and you're not making it up. And like, it was just one of them situations where like all my coworkers were extremely supportive. Some of them were just kind of like, whatever, another Black lady said to me, she says, that's why I don't go out by myself. And I'm like, I know, but like I do this all the time. It's just so happened that in this situation, I was aware and I looked around and it was crazy. Leaving Rome the next day. I'm on the plane and my position was like, as soon as you walk in, I'm the galley person. So I'm preparing the meals and getting everything ready for first class. That's where my position was. And, I get compliments all the time. Oh, I love your hair. I love your hair. I love your hair. Oh, you're beautiful. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. Whatever. And at this point, the compliments were like, it's because I'm Black. Like I no longer felt it the way I perceived it originally as a compliment. And so one of the gate agents walked up to me and he said, my coworkers and I need to speak with you. And I'm like, what did I do? I'm minding my business. So I said, yes. And he said, we all just have been talking about you this whole time. You've been standing here. We've been watching you work. You're so beautiful. And like, I was like exhausted at that point. I was so mentally and physically exhausted. I was so emotional. I was just like, oh, wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But I just realized that they don't see people that look like me every day. And but that's still not why that man was following me. It still felt different. And when, again, I've been to places, and when you can have somebody make eye contact with you and you feel that it is so devious and you know that something is not right, it sits in your soul a little different. And I am so blessed and lucky to have the support system and the mom and the sister and the family that really rallied around me, my coworkers that were calling and texting and everything. But imagine if I didn't have that. And one thing that I do not do when I go out into these other countries, and even here in America, when I go out by myself,
it happens in America.
Everywhere, even everywhere I go, I never look at my phone while I'm walking. I don't. I'm head is up. I'm walking. I'm looking around. I'm looking at the buildings. I'm constantly like looking at landmarks and knowing where I came from and where I went. If I've seen someone once or twice, I'll remember that person. Like, that is the one thing I say take away from this, is to know your surroundings and pay attention. People want to take pictures. You can take pictures, take a couple pictures while you're stopped, take a video or two, and then put your phone away. Because at the end of the day, had I not put my phones away and strictly focused on my surroundings, I don't know if the outcome would have been different.
Right.
So, yeah.
And your intuition, always listen to your first mind, but me being able to read people and energy and body language, I knew she was in danger. That's why I was freaking out, because I knew what his intentions were, and they were not good. And you hear about it, and we're talking to Master Mo, he was saying, these movies, well, I'm not going to steal his child because he's going to tell you some stuff.
Go ahead.
Protect yourself. But he was saying, you know, he's a filmmaker, he's a film producer, he's an actor, he's a stuntman. He was saying that when you see it in the movies, it takes years to get it out there to you. So this stuff has been happening for centuries. It's been happening forever. It's been happening. It happened to a woman here in DC where she had 3 children. She looked like a soccer mom, and they drugged her. She's a single parent of 4 children, and sold her out of a hotel room and drugged her the whole time for 6 months. Her children were without her until she was able to fight off the drug, or they didn't give her enough. I thought she was drugged up enough, and she was able to escape and see her children again. But what about the people that aren't able to see their families again, that are not so lucky?
And my partner, when I got back to my hotel room and I was able to communicate with my partner again, because mind you, my phone wasn't working, so I couldn't talk to anybody really. All I was able to get, once I got messages coming in, I immediately started sending messages out. Like, okay, my phone is working for a second. Let everybody know I'm safe. And so I talked to my partner, and I had never thought to look up Rome and human trafficking. It's just not something I thought to do. But now I know. I don't care where I've gone, how many times. I've been in Mexico more times than I can remember, and I was drugged in Mexico. You know, so like, it doesn't matter where you go or how familiar you are with the place. You still have to look it up.
Watch your surroundings.
Right. My partner and I looked up the everything that night in the news, and we found out that human trafficking is very big for Nigerian women in Italy. Human trafficking is huge when it comes to Nigerian women. And to them, I am African until I open my mouth. And I've experienced that all over Europe. Every time I meet people, they always say, oh, hello. And I'm like, or they'll speak to me and I'll say, hello. And they go, oh, you're American. Oh, you're American. I get that every single time. So they automatically assume I am actually from Africa and not African-American until I start to speak. And then to find out that Italy is huge when it comes to human trafficking of Nigerian and other African women, that was also super creepy. And honestly, I was just so blessed and lucky that I have made it back, to my hotel room that night. The feeling is insane to think like, oh my goodness, I almost did not make it back to this space that I'm in. And then when I got to America, I was so exhausted. I was so tired. Emotionally, I was drained. I didn't talk to people for like probably like 2 or 3 days. People were calling and texting and messaging. And my mom was like, help me put the word out. But I was so exhausted. I was dragging because I couldn't believe what I had just experienced. And the craziest part is that as women, as Black women, people don't believe us. People think we're exaggerating. People don't think that we're experiencing these things that we are experiencing. And some of us are so numb to it. But luckily, I was not numb. I know what happened. I know what I saw. I know what I felt. And you see this man's picture. I don't know, Mama, you
show his picture. Can you pull up his picture, Jules?
I don't know if I can put it on there, but I can show you here.
Let me see. I should have shared it on my screen. Let me see if I can. You have his picture?
This man's photo is so crazy.
Actually, the photo is also in one of, yes.
That's him.
That's him.
He's looking directly, and this is a still shot of a video. I took a video of him. This is the still shot of him looking directly into my phone. He was taking pictures sitting down, and he's like this, taking pictures of me and like recording me on his phone. Yeah.
Wow. So thank you, Jules. Is there anything else you want to say before we give the floor to Grandmaster Mo?
No, yeah, probably I said no. Yeah, I just want people to just really be vigilant of where they are, looking around. Taking pictures is great because that's what you're here for. Nobody travels halfway around the world to not have any photos. Taking pictures is great, it's good, but always like put your phone away. Take a couple pictures, take a few videos. Do not walk with your phone. Even my watch, I look at my watch, make sure I'm going the right way, or I'll pull it out to make sure I'm going the right way. Screenshot everything. Screenshot your distance. Screenshot, like before I take my walk, I screenshot on my work phone how long it's going to take me to get there. Screenshot the path so I know what time I left. Just staying in constant communication with your family and your friends. When you're in other countries, they always say put your TV on the local channel, the local news, not English or what the language you speak. Put it on the local channel, the local news, and what's going on. This way, if anybody's watching you or listening outside your door, they're going to think you speak the language. They're going to know that you're not alone. Constantly being in contact, having an international plan. People don't want to spend the money. If you're going to be out of town for a few days, put that extra money on your phone plan so that this is I can contact people and I can get in touch with people. I don't carry a lot of cash when I go to other countries. I don't even like carrying a purse or a wallet. I kind of try to stick everything in as many places as I possibly can so that I don't have, too much in my hands. Leaving notes in your room. This is such and such. I'm leaving at this time. I plan to be back at this time. This is a number to call in an emergency. Letting people around know, just being as vocal and forthcoming with as much information as possible. My mom knew I was in Rome, but that's all she knew. Did you know I was in Rome, Mommy?
No.
I don't think you knew I was in Rome.
But I have but you share your location services with me. And another thing, we go out of the country a lot too. And like if we're out with the locals, I don't care, and I don't go out of the country by myself, but we're out with the locals. I'm going live on Facebook, and I'm filming everyone in the whole room. So if somebody decides they want to try to rob us, we got your picture on Facebook because I will go live. I do it all the time.
Yeah. But just definitely letting people know where you are, because I don't think my mom
know where you are and what you're doing, and do check-ins. Do check-ins for a reason. Use Facebook to your advantage for security. But I'm not going to hold up Grandmaster Mo any longer because the best for last.
Yes.
Could I just interject real quick before Master Mo starts? I just want to issue this disclaimer to everyone watching. This isn't to tell people not to travel. It's just to be careful.
Yeah.
Because I don't want anyone taking it, the wrong way, because we all in here like to travel. I'm someone who's similar like Jewel, where I travel alone a lot. I'll go to the jungle. I'll,
But
I'll
you
go
should
to
have
the
a
mountains.
wingman. You
Yes.
need to have a wingman. I don't care who it is, male, female, child. Everyone should have a wingman. Period.
Yes.
Or at least people,
And
not everybody is fortunate enough to have leave paper
But
trails.
you don't need to go.
No, leave paper trails, because
that's the
I'm
mama
gonna be
speaking
honest,
right there.
right? And I'm gonna be honest, like leave paper trails. Like
Mhm.
you said, doesn't mean don't travel. I'm a flight attendant. I can't not travel. And
Right.
I'll be damned if I go to a new country or a new city and I'm too scared to leave my room. That's not why I have this job.
Right.
But leave paper trails. Travel, see the world. Like the world is there for us. But definitely leave paper trails, write notes, let people know where you are. Text somebody and tell them that what time you're leaving. Hey, if I don't hear back, call my hotel room. This is the hotel I'm staying at. Those are just the extra steps and measures that you have to take as a traveler, instead of just, I'm gonna get out and explore. No, leave paper trail.
Okay. So Asmaa'a, will you please introduce Grandmaster Mo for us, please?
Oh.
You're the one that connected us to him. This phenomenal being. Welcome.
Well,
welcome.
I got connected to Master Mo through King Simon. And this man is phenomenal. I didn't get to spend a lot of time training with Master Mo, but the little time that I got to right before the pandemic, it was very memorable. So this is Grand Master Professor Mo of 52 Blocks Dojo in Harlem, president of 52 Blocks Federation. He has many black belts, has studied jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, Shotokan, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and more. And he is not only a martial arts master, but he's also an actor, a historian, a filmmaker, a producer, a stuntman, and so much more to the community. So I just want to give a grand introduction, Master Mo. He has some movies too that you guys should check out. Well, we'll talk about that as we go along.
I saw one of his movies last night. It was pretty good. I can't wait till the one that comes on Netflix. I'm super excited. So we're going to be learning something from a true master. Okay, yes. How to defend yourself and how to protect yourselves, guys. The show is yours, Master.
Okay, first, I'm not a stunt man anymore. I'm too old now. But I had my day. Right. I'm not falling down the stairs. I'm not jumping out of no buildings. I'm done with that. No. Happy to be here because it's always been a concern, but I want to say we call it the 3 A's. And just take this down. I'll make it available to you. But the 3 A's is awareness, assessment, and action. And what your daughter did, what she did, she was aware and she assessed her situation and getting in touch with her family and using technology was the action. Action is not going up and beating somebody up or saying, yo, you following me? That's not going to work, especially for a young lady. You're not going, yo, you follow me? That's not going to happen.
New York style.
The action of letting the family know where she was is very important. I'll throw out a couple of tips about some different things. As I said earlier in the chat, human trafficking is not new, just like police brutality is not new. One of the things she said earlier about people not believing our stories as Black women, they don't believe our stories as Black men. My white friends don't believe the stories of my situations with police officers, my situations with jobs. It's like they don't believe the craziness, but now it's being videoed. Now, as far as a woman is concerned, I mentioned earlier and I'll mention again, you go to a club, you gotta be careful of your drinks. You gotta be aware of who's following you and should be aware. Just like everybody in the airline, everybody's telling you how pretty you are. Well, guess what? Everybody in the restaurant thinks the same thing. Don't think they're jiving you. You're an easy target because all I gotta say is blonde hair, nose ring, and that beautiful gap
That family
You know
gap.
that you know in Africa, well then you'll find out where you are in Africa. Because in Africa, the gap is a sign of beauty that people would actually separate their teeth in order to have that gap. So it's part of your genetics. So when that comes up, all that's going to come up. And then I think the first thing we have to understand, I was explaining to my daughter a long time ago, is you have to learn how to defend yourself against men. You have to understand how men think. Men are hunters, and that's what they do. They will hunt you. They'll hunt you. You don't like them, they buy a new car. That's bait. You don't like them, they offer you a fly. Let's say they want to go to Jamaica. That's the bait. Men will do anything. We are hunters. That's what we do, consciously or subconsciously. So you were being hunted. So what happens in that situation also is that you were being hunted for money. And being hunted for money, you were the person of choice. I went to Thailand with an actress. The actress that was in the movie you saw, that's on Tubi, Love, Sex, and Kung Fu. I went to Thailand with her, and she's a dark-skinned, voluptuous Black woman. And she's having fun. She's getting all of these accolades. And her mother told me when she went out there, her mother said, look, you look out for my daughter. And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, no, you look out for my daughter. And she made so many mistakes. I had to correct her so many times because she wasn't, you're a flight attendant. She wasn't used to traveling. She was easy bait. And one time, this is, you know, in Thailand, they have the water festival, right? I'm sorry, I'm talking to your daughter because she's a flight attendant. They have the water, you know, they have the water festival in April, right? Everybody flies out there. So you got a group of dudes out there. See her. She's dark and lovely. They taking pictures, but they're Americans. They're not from Thailand. See, Thailand is called the land of smiles. The reason why they're the land of smiles, another story, if you rob a tourist, the king will have you hung. So they got a different reason why they're nice out there and why it's pretty safe out there. But the tourists understand, and hear me this, the tourists, those are the ones that are still hunting. So she's taking pictures and the boys are behind her, they going, all kinds of obscene gestures. And I said to her, I said, come. She wasn't paying attention. She was in all her glory. And I said, look, come over here now. So she walked over there and I said, look, when I asked you to come over, you need to come as soon as possible because you don't understand what they were doing behind you while they were taking pictures. So she wanted to get into a back and forward with me. Oh, it's okay. They're just having fun. Like, really? This is your first time in Thailand. They will drag you into the alleyway, run a train on you, and guess what happens? The same thing when you were talking to the guy at the bar, how nice he was. But guess what? The police are not going to look for other tourists because they ran a train on you. They're not going to do it. They're gonna. You're a foreigner. That's who you are. Yeah. So you're a Black woman. You're a foreigner. She's a Black woman. You got 5 or 6 white boys behind her making all kinds of obscene gestures. And she said her defense was, well, the Black guys do it too. That's not the point I was making. The point I was making, there are 5 Americans behind you. They will follow you and she will disappear. And look, for me, I'm a chaperone, right? All I got to do is lose sight of her for a half hour.
Done.
That's it.
That's why I said you got to understand how a man thinks. Men are nasty. They will go behind each other.
Mm-hmm.
On the train. And all they need is 45 minutes, half hour, and your life is destroyed.
That's
Mm-hmm.
it.
So this is serious business. Now the other half is even worse if they're trying to steal you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a movie, you saw it on Netflix, right? That's a good movie about the girl that they kidnapped her. And
Olature. Was it Olature?
yes, I think that's the name of it.
The Nigerian movie?
Yes, that was a really good movie.
Heart.
That was rough.
You know,
That was
really struggle.
And they sent them to Italy.
They were sent.
But
They
people
were
have to
sending them.
understand, real. When you saw Taken 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be aware when you go out, your vacation is not a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Other people should know. It's not a secret. Where
Yes.
you're going. What my daughter wanted to go. Let's talk about the US. My daughter got admitted into Columbia University.
All right.
Daddy's looking it up. Date rate in colleges. Guess who's number one?
Wow.
University.
That raised your anxiety.
Ivy League school. I'm thinking about how I'm gonna pay for this. I'm like, oh man, oh Columbia, huh? Oh, okay. How's Daddy gonna pay for this? All right, what's he gonna live with me and come off? What are we gonna do? Number one, Columbia University at that time. I don't know about now, but when I did that, and I said, oh, okay. You know, one of the things I wanted my daughter to be able to is to be able to protect herself. But no matter how much traditional or unorthodox or martial arts you teach, that awareness, assessment, and action are very important. And young lady, that's what you did. You were aware of this. I don't want to even call him a perv. He's a criminal looking, stalking you. He's hunting you. And you made an assessment, and the assessment was to call your mom. So mom, everything you taught us, she put it together. If I was making a package of how to do it, that would be exactly what I would tell you to do.
All right.
So everything you did was the correct stuff to be doing. And as far as children are concerned, I want to throw something out there for kids. One of the big things I do with kids is start having your kids describe where they are. What's the grocery store? What's the supermarket? Also, as they start to learn numbers, how to memorize license plates and colors of cars, to know the difference between a car, a truck, and a bus. Because we know the kids have all the technology. If our kids are stolen, and you say, where you are, what are you going to say? Describe where you are. He can't tell you he's on 135th Street or he's in Brooklyn, or he can't tell you where. If they can tell you where they are, that's a plus. Or the color, what color is the car? It's green.
You see
it's
that
white.
a lot on Law and Order too, Master Mo. You see that a lot on Law and Order when they interview the children. They and the children don't know where they were taken to or where they were going. They have them describe it or draw a picture. And they'll say, oh, there was a red house on the corner and things like that. So that's 100% on point.
Well, my father actually did it with me because he didn't know I'm dyslexic. So he didn't know that. You know, they didn't know that they were. But he understand, oh boy, if you got problems reading numbers, you know, what's that on the corner? So a lot of times I didn't know streets or names, but I kind of like knew where I was by the color of the house or what stores were lined up. And still today, as a grown man, I'm driving through the street and I'm looking for landmarks. And my wife gets mad at me. What's the name? What's the name? My wife is screaming. What's the damn name of this street? She's very abusive. I just want to let people know she's abusing me.
Right.
I like it.
You are not right. You are so wrong.
She is
You are
very
so wrong.
abusive.
I'm telling your wife, you are so wrong.
I let everybody know she's abusive. And she's screaming, yelling at me because because I still use the landmark. Oh, it's the park here, I make a right. All right, when I go there, there's a bodega there, I make a left. Oh, that's where the gym is. We need to make our kids aware of their environment.
Yes.
And well, guess what? It's the same if a woman is abducted, and you gotta let us know if you're in a hotel, if you're not in a hotel. People are not able. Where are you? Where's the is your barn? Is there grass? What was the car? Those things are very important. We can make it fun.
Right.
When you're dealing with children, just make it fun and make it an educational thing. What was that license plate number? What color was that license plate? And that makes a difference, because if New York license plates are yellow and somebody else's license plates are blue, he says it's a blue license plate. The person is, if the perpetrator is still in New York, we're looking for a blue license plate. We're not looking for a white one. So everything as far as protecting yourself is important. I'm just starting a YouTube channel, the 52 Block Federation, and I'm going to be giving a lot of self-defense tips on that channel. I'm not going to be trying to make you join anything like that. Join the channel, but I'm not trying to sign you up for no course and that stuff. I'm really trying to give you some information.
I'm going to put it in the description too, Master Pro.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it in the description too, so they can reach you as well.
Yeah, the 52 Block Federation, you know, and you go, because like you, I'm a traveler. I go everywhere. I don't go to Europe that much, but I'm in Thailand, I'm in Cambodia, one day my son and I, we go to the Philippines. And in the Philippines, and she can attest for me, the Filipinos are not, in Thailand, they're very national. Thai fighting, Thai people, Thai women, Thai men, everything's Thai. But in the Philippines, they want to be American. So they're fast food eaters. So we couldn't find a Filipino restaurant. Have you ever gone to a country where you couldn't find the food that the people eat?
Really?
Wow.
No, I haven't.
We were in
from Philippines.
We were in the Philippines and could not find a Filipino restaurant.
Wow.
Finally, they all eat fast food. We can find Kentucky Fried Chicken there. And some other dude.
That's everywhere. Yeah.
Kentucky Fried Chicken different over there. Everywhere is different than here.
Trinidad has the best though. Trinidad.
Everybody knows Trinidad has the best Kentucky Fried Chicken at the airport.
How do you know? You don't even eat chicken. You're vegan, Jules.
I have heard, and I might, next time I go to Trinidad, I might break my vegan diet just for some Trinidad Kentucky Fried Chicken.
The Trinidadian Kentucky Fried Chicken is so good. When you talk to the people at the gate, they go, "Oh yeah, go ahead, too. You got some of that chicken? You good." But anyway, me and my son are walking down the street. The street is lit. Finally, we get to the point where we're looking for the restaurant. We don't find it. And the lights turn off. There's no lights in the street. It's totally black. And picture yourself and half of your block that you live on, there's no lights at all.
Oh no.
I don't know much about that. Filipino life, but I do know about self-defense. I told my son, he's a doctor. I said, "Doc, come back. Step back, Doc. I need you to step back towards me." Because I wasn't going in there. I want him to come back. I'm telling you, he walked into the dark room. See my hands going? He's in the dark now. I said, "Step back." He stepped back towards me. I said, "Hey man, I know you're excited about showing Pop around." I said, "But we're not going in there, man. Because that's where you're gonna get robbed." See, it's about awareness. And guess what? The restaurant was the block before. We had passed the restaurant. If we had continued to go down that dark road with no light, that's where you get robbed at. So you always have to be aware of your environment. That's the number one stuff.
That reminds me of when we went to Belize and we came back and it was pitch black on that road. And the only light we had was on a golf cart. And then the abandoned buildings we passed, they had lights all of a sudden hiding, showing out behind the plywood of these abandoned hotels. And she took us to this country in Belize, and I think the daggone mosquitoes and the sand fleas were just as treacherous as the people could have been.
No, Belize was amazing. Belize is so safe. I love Belize.
I don't do dark, and I couldn't bring my 9 with me.
That's right. That's right.
Belize is different. Belize is safe.
9 and some more. So
Belize is safe. You know, Pops almost, my dad almost got robbed in Jamaica. He almost got pickpocketed, and I saw it. The guy came, walked in between us, and my Pops is talking to the people selling the trinkets. And I'm sorry, excuse me, y'all. And this guy walks and sits down directly next to my Pops. Like he could reach out and touch him. That's how close he was. And I looked at my Pops' wallet, and I said, Pops. And me, my mom, and my dad and my sister travel together every year. We travel together more than I think anybody in our family. The 4 of us are always together. And I said, Pops. And he was like, yeah, my Pops is a man's man. So he's macho. He's an alpha male.
Firefighter.
You know, like you can't tell him much, you know. And I said, Pops. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, come here now. I said, do not say anything. Do not argue with me. Come here. And he walked towards me. And then the 2 guys that were in on it looked at each other. They walked away. And then the guy that was like walking us, like our tour guy walking us through Jamaica, I told him what was going on. He said, oh yeah, he was about to get him. Why the tour guy didn't see that? I don't know why he didn't see it.
He was a part of it.
But he leaned over like this, and he looked at his wallet, and he looked at the other guy that was across from him, and they looked at each other, and he looked back, and he was like this. And I called his name so fast. So he said, situational awareness is huge when you go out. But sorry, we cut you off.
And you know, you also have to, if you can, because it's kind of cheap for me. You can. I like to have chaperones. I like to have someone who takes me around because I like to eat in the neighborhood. So when you're in the neighborhood, when you're eating in the community, now you definitely need somebody to guide you.
Trust,
You know, I have somebody. So if you can afford it, you always have somebody who's going to actually guide you. Even the people that drive you, if you can afford it, you want to do that. And one of the things, especially I say to ladies all the time, and I hear you guys say this, oh, I do this all the time.
Yeah.
Because you do it all the time,
Nick's 9 no.
make it okay. All you need is the one time. You know, a guy's not going to, I do it all the time. Okay, so 9 times a guy didn't try to rape you. Okay, yeah, but we're telling you that if we keep doing it, as long as we are roaming around black and beautiful, somebody's going to try it. So just have to be aware of that and continue to have your plan. Now, see, now that you have had this experience, now it's in your pocket so you can handle it even better. You know, because now family members, you know who you're going to contact, or you know how you got a story to tell the other flight attendant that you work with. Hey man, remember what happened to me over there? Now I'm gonna need you. You know, I like to roll alone, but I need this. Call me every half hour or whatever. Because you definitely left a lot of breadcrumbs for the police. The problem is when people don't leave those breadcrumbs. And that's why it's very hard.
Oh, so yes, breadcrumbs. Yes, I like that.
It's very hard for you to survive. If you survive, I mean, obviously, no disrespect, you know, but a beautiful woman you're a trophy. So there's going to be some survival. You're not going to you're not like a dude like me. They're going to take me out. It's over for me. And take me out quick. But you do, they can negotiate. They can do other things with it. So maybe we got enough time, you know, to find you. And when you left all those breadcrumbs, that made it a lot easier for us to do. And then the people at the, I just always say to people, when you go to other countries, first of all, don't come with your American attitude. 'cause nobody cares.
Because you're a foreigner.
Say it again. Say it again for the people in the back.
People do that too much.
Don't
People do
Yeah,
that
you're a
too
foreigner
much.
in that country.
Just
don't come with your
arrogant.
American accent.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, one day they were playing some music, and it was the festival, and they were bang, 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 bang. Now I tried to get my hotel with the balcony. I asked for it. I asked for this. I wanted the balcony overlooking the beach. So they're celebrating their celebration. I got on my martial arts thing. I came downstairs. Yo, what can you do something about this noise? And the guy says, it's a celebration.
Yeah.
Me and my American ridiculousness, I go outside, and then I go outside to myself. I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I look, and they partying, but there's a couple of dudes, and they like, they had some Ray Ray and Knuck Knucks. They partying kind of. I was supposed to go over there and say, hey, listen, I know this is your traditional festival, but cut the noise out. That's outrageous and crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you laughing at me? They probably did.
You're gonna go back to your room.
Too.
If you go back to your room.
Get out of here, right?
No, they would have probably left me on the beach.
If you don't go back to your room with all your black belts.
They don't know who I am. And see, that's another thing. People know who I am. I'm going, hey man, turn on. Oh yeah, Sensei, sure. They don't know. They don't care about me.
Right.
So, you have to be very careful about your American attitude and how it moves, And also, if you can, learn the language. You can learn hello, how are you, how much stuff
Learn
costs.
a few words.
Google Translate.
Learn a few words. Learn
guys-
the words that you're going to use this morning. Learn the words that you're going to use.
Yeah.
We don't need you to be in France trying to learn zebra. You don't need to learn zebra. You need to learn a menu of what you like. You Spanish, frijoles, arroz, con pollo. You want to be able to say what you want and what kind of food you want. And you need to be able to say good morning. You need to say goodbye. Say, where's the store?
Help.
Things like that. Really simple. And the YouTube now makes it easier. Before I used to have these cards and I had the tape and I'm trying to listen to but now it's on YouTube. So give yourself, if you plan on going to a country, I'm not talking about somebody who's a professional, because you're a professional, so you're flying like this. But for us regular people, if you know that you're flying out next month and you're going to France, hello, goodbye, how you doing? And whatever your favorite French food is, whatever your favorite Thai food is, whatever you want to experience, ask for it, how to ask for water. Especially if you're going to someplace like the Philippines, where it's really hot. What do you got to learn? How much is the water? Where's the water?
Can I ask you a question? I'm sorry before I forget, because sometimes I forget stuff. So my dad is retired, 40-year retired police officer. And he always taught me, and I want to see what you say about this. He taught me that if I ever felt dangerous, and this is what I was telling Jules when we were on the phone with her talking to her. He said, you want to hit them in 3 points all at one time. He told me, you take the hand, this part of the hand, and hit them up here with the nostrils and shove the shaft of their nose up into their brain, hit them in the throat at the same time and in the groin, what you need, all at one time. And then he said, if that don't work, then you just need to shit on yourself. Excuse me.
I agree with everything you just said.
Huh?
I don't think it's going to work if you don't practice it, though. But,
right.
What you're doing, you're disrupting his vision and you're disrupting his breathing. And it's easy for women to do, palming up into the nose, and you disrupt his vision and that kind of stuff. And the other stuff about
what is it about pooping or defecating on the side? What's that part?
There you go. What deal with that?
If somebody's trying to rape you and you act like you get scared and you start to defecate on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
then you make the, but that can work two ways. It depends on what situation you're in, because you can make him, if he has you in a secluded spot, you can make him angry, and then he can just murder you.
Yeah,
But
that's
if
true.
he's a regular Joe Blow trying to pull your dress off or whatever, he'll leave you alone. That's not what he wanted.
Can I ask you something?
That ain't what he wanted.
My brother asked me to ask you a question. He said, what do you think about starting an NPO geared towards providing self-defense services for young women?
The difficult problem.
Either that's my brother or my son, because we got 4 John Kennedys, so I'm trying to figure out which one this is.
I mean, you can do it. I mean, many people have tried, and I always make it available to do something for the ladies. Obviously, I'm a dad, so that's something that's very close to me. I will say that American women are different from women in other countries. They're not like Israeli women go to the army. You know, there's a different kind of way that they move. American women, you know, that's not on their list. You know, it's not going to happen to me. So it's really difficult. And then sometimes we're tragedy driven. You know, like it takes a tragedy for us to say, or an experience like the experience you had, to give us the motivation to lock in. You know, and I'll say to you as a dad, you were a pretty girl before this shit happened. You understand what I'm saying? What are you thinking about? You were that before it happened, but now that it's happened, you want to do it, and then you're gonna lose your flame, and it's gonna flame out. I think the best thing for women in self-defense is a course. And you do like a course, and it's a short course, just like the stuff that like your dad told you. You know, palm them here, kick them there, and understanding what awareness assessment is, those situations, taking stories like some of the stories I have or the stories I just heard, putting that into perspective for people to hear. Because, look, even men today are different. They don't want to be black belts. They don't care about that. They want to just, I just want to learn enough, man. That's all.
Do you offer a virtual self-defense course, or do any of your instructors offer one?
I talked to Sensei Shirley. She's been talking about doing
it.
Because she's been talking about doing it. Because for me, you know, I'm retired now. I'm more a hands-on guy. You know, so I see people, and the only virtual stuff is I'm going to be giving a lot of stuff in this YouTube channel.
Okay, I'm going to share it in the description.
People can be part of that. I think.
Okay, so you're going to do a YouTube subscribe. I mean,
I just started a YouTube channel. They can subscribe to it. It's called the 52 Block Federation.
Okay.
And I got together with a bunch of martial arts experts.
Okay.
In how to learn how to defend themselves. I have a lot of different students. I have students that are Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, Marines.
All right.
And male and female.
You work with Isaac Hayes.
Yeah, you work with Isaac Hayes. Yeah.
So I got all these guys that are coming in, and all these different experts that are coming in and giving seminars, and we're showing people how to use firearms. I'm thinking about starting a firearm club, showing people how to use firearms and that kind of stuff. You know, I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe that if you are a person in a state that allows you to carry firearms and you don't have one, you know, all right. I mean, how many Ahmaud Arbery's do you need?
Right. Yeah. Everyone should have one if you can get a firearm. And please get licensed, people. Do not
have concealed to carry, but I don't have any firearms yet. But I have a few. I have maybe like 3 concealed to carry that I applied for, because there was a time that I was going. But you know, it's hard to get one in New York. But I have like 3, and one of them is like one of them crosses like 35 states.
I heard about Utah.
I got Utah.
So what's it, 31 states or?
I think 35. I got it a few years ago. I got Utah, I have Florida, and I think I have Arizona.
Okay.
But what you brought up, it made me think of two things, if I could just interject. So the first thing was, y'all made me remember an experience when I was in Spain. I was 15, I went to Spain, and there was a man. I went to a part of Spain in the south of Spain where there wasn't a lot of brown folk. Like you said, there was only a few of the African people that were up for trade. So when I would go there, I had these long braids, and people would stare at me, they would touch my hair and say stuff to me in Spanish. Now, back then, my Spanish wasn't that good, right? And one day, there was this man that tried to follow me in the town. And all I could think of, because my Spanish wasn't that good, was that Crooklyn movie with a little girl in the store said, "Déjame, estúpido, déjame."
Déjame.
Literally told him, "Déjame, estúpido." But, you know, I mean, I didn't know what to do. I was in that country by myself. I was with some kids from school. It was a school trip. I was the only black child that was there. And the Asian girls that I was with kept leaving me. So luckily, I'm from the Bronx. I know how to dip through in between blocks, and I remember the name of the street. That was the only thing I remembered. So I was just like, okay, let me go this way. And I kept looking, and that happened, I think, 2 times. There was 2 different men that tried to follow me. There was one that was pretending to walk a dog, and then there was this older man. And I never saw them again. But, you know, luckily, I was lucky during that time. But it also made me think of, you guys know that I do special needs teaching and early childhood teaching.
Okay.
So one thing that is not taught a lot from my experience in the school system, they do not teach stranger danger anymore.
They need to.
I teach that to my students.
Good.
Because kids get mixed messages, and when they're little, they're told, keep your hands to yourself, keep your hands to yourself. So I tell my students, that's a time when it's okay to not keep your hands to yourself. If someone tries to snatch you, and I was so amazed the first year that I ever taught it to preschoolers in this generation, only 1 out of 20 of my students knew what to do. And I said, if someone says, "Hey, little boy, hey, little girl, you want some candy?" And they were so cute. They say, "Yeah." I said, "No, you don't say yeah." But I made it fun so that it doesn't traumatize them. But I taught them the lesson, and I said, that's the time where you scratch, you bite, you kick, you
Fight for your life.
you run.
Fight for your life.
Another grown-up. You run for your life. Because I said some grown-ups are not nice to children, and you won't be able to see your family again if they take it. Part of the reason
And
I also said
I say the same thing to women as well. If somebody tries to drag you in that car, one thing that needs to be on your mind is, if you get in that car, we ain't never gonna see you again.
Right.
So if you kill me here. Kill me in public.
But if you scratch or you bite, you'll have some of their DNA underneath your fingernails. So they're more easily to find the person. If you bite into the skin. Like I told the kids, I said, that's when it's okay to kick, to scream, to fight. You know, they got little baby fists, but if they do something and run,
they do.
Yeah, they little baby fists. They think they hurt somebody, but
bite them.
Because they think they're like the cartoon.
Drop it low or bite them in the crotch.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something, Master. I also heard that if you're put in a trunk, kick the tail light out and put your arm or your leg out the tail light hole. If someone puts you in a trunk. Is that true? Is that a good way for children or anyone that's being
Cars are changing. So you don't know what kind of car. That's a
They're
general statement.
For that though.
Huh?
No, we don't know what kind of car. And then also it's, you know, basically cars are changing the way they're being manufactured. So it's like the kick the guy in the groin rule. You can't kick a guy in the groin that teach people anymore, because everybody wears their pants off their behind. So if you kick him in the groin, his pants are down here, his groin's here, his pants are you know, fashion changes your self-defense and also that. But that could be good, but I wouldn't say that that's a general
What
thing.
about parking next to vans? Like if you're in a parking lot and the only parking space the closest to the building is next to a van.
Well, if you're in a van that's an unmarked van, I wouldn't park there. A marked van, you know, I mean, I'm not going to live my life paranoid, but
Right.
what I mean by a marked van, if it's marked, if it's a FedEx van or a van that you're familiar with, it's the all white van or the all black van that may be a problem that you may not want to park close to that area.
So what is the most sensitive part of a body that someone should hit as a child or as a woman or as a man to get someone off of them when they're in danger?
That's a good question.
So it starts from the top down: eyes, throat, groin.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Eyes, throat, groin.
Okay.
Even in a fight, eyes, throat.
Throat, groin.
Like now, when I was a young man, I could beat you up, but now as an older man, I'm going to fight you different. Eyes, throat,
Throat,
so
groin.
back in the day,
So I got time for all that.
I punch you in your chest, which will give you a warning. I punch you in the chest, pow, you got a warning. Now I'm an older guy. Boom, I punch you in your throat. Now you can't breathe. Yeah. It's a whole different game now, so it changes. So eyes, throat, and groin. And then after that would be the instep of the foot. But the foot's not going to give necessarily, the stomp is not going to give a lot of pain, but it's going to give enough. And then after that is this.
I'm sorry.
Then after that, you know, it's the old little rascals kick to the shin.
My dad told me also going out of the country because you can't carry mace or pepper spray or any type of weapon. He said carry a small container of cayenne pepper. You can get it through TSA. Huh?
Well, I mean, you got to know how to use that stuff. You know, if you don't have the frame of mind to use it, I would say get yourself a good pen.
Okay. Okay.
I would use a pen. And again, eyes, throat, groin with the pen.
Wow. Okay. So
maybe you could fill a pen up with some cayenne pepper and poke somebody in the eye, the throat, or the groin.
Okay. I'm gonna give you what you want. Okay.
Hey,
that is so
cayenne
funny.
pepper's hot.
But
And this is for safety, guys. Don't go around hurting people and fighting people like that.
Right.
We're talking about for safety to save your life. Because you get caught, going to jail.
This kind of stuff, you have to explain that, you know, you have to explain that to the jury. You know what I mean? Like self-defense is, I've been to court a couple of times. And the first time I went, I got robbed. I was in the Bronx, Fordham Road.
Oh man, I grew up around there.
I had 11. That's why I know. So I'm gonna tell you, I had a leather jacket on. I had some tight jeans and cowboy boots with some holes. They're popular now, but we're talking about back in the day. So I didn't look like I was from the Bronx.
You look like a tourist.
And they didn't know I had a black belt. So I looked like. So I walked out of there. And I did the number one thing that I tell my students not to do, I did because of my ego. I'm counting my money, put my money in my pocket. Guy grabbed me from behind. I throw him. He breaks his arm. The next guy tries to has a gun. I disarm the gun, leave the gun on the floor. The other guy runs. So I waited for the police. The cops come. And then I tell the cops, you know, I'm a martial artist and these guys tried to rob me and I did this and I'm doing my hero shit. And then the cops said to me, yeah, bro, but you know, we're gonna have to arrest you. What? They arrested me. And then the guy that's some ragga
bull crap.
He never had, he didn't have a record. And obviously I think he came from a good, I don't know. But he reversed the charges on me. So then they said to me, yo, we can give you a lawyer. I talked to a friend of mine. He said, you use one of those lawyers, you're going to jail. You hear me?
Oh yeah,
so
lawyers.
I I had $2,500 and I used it for the lawyer to defend myself. Cost me a few thousand dollars. But my friend, who I was talking to about this the other day, this was recent, his wife, short little white lady, his wife gets into a fight at the bar or whatever, beats up 3 girls. She's a very good martial artist. Breaks the girls' teeth and all that stuff.
Wow.
They put out a warrant for her arrest.
No.
He said, man, I had to hide my wife for 2 days.
Oh my goodness.
And finally, after they put the warrant out for her arrest, when they put the warrant out for arrest, he takes his wife to the precinct. He does the same thing. He said, man, I had to hire a lawyer. He said it cost him 50 grand.
Wow.
See, let me say something about the legal system. The legal system is not about what's right or wrong. There's a lot of people who are in jail because they couldn't afford bail. There's a lot of people who are in jail because they couldn't get.
Well, it's not just black; it's any race now. Sometimes
and we couldn't get proper defense. So you get one of these other. So he said, I spent $50,000.
Wow.
And his wife is white, so I was messing with him. I'm like, yeah, man, but she a little white girl. Come on, man. You know,
That's surprising.
Said,
is he black?
She was, yeah, he's black. Maybe they saw him. Who knows? I don't know. But $50,000 to defend. So before you go in and use your self-defense on somebody, it's got to be to protect your life, because you got to prove that. You got to prove
fair
that.
for your life, yeah.
And even though this guy had a record, and we were able to prove it, they never gave my money back. They didn't give me my money I spent on way back. They said, you're right, he's a criminal.
That's
I just realized. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mama. No, go ahead, Mama. Go ahead.
Something I just realized, I'm on a layover now. I'm actually on a layover for work right now. And I pulled the sleeve of the room key that they give us. And I was always taught never to take the sleeve with you when you're traveling for the day. When you you don't know, like when it's surprising, right? Like you take the whole thing with you, you go out for the day, you travel. Never take the sleeve with the room key or the information with you. Because
it has the room and
the room key, the key is which, like your room key is in here. You leave it in here, you take it with you, you go out. Somebody could pickpocket you, they follow you back to your room. And then sometimes you tell the people at the hotel desk, hey, I left my key or I lost my key. Sometimes they don't always, because it's a human error. They don't deactivate the original key.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just give you an additional one. So now your original key is now on here and it has your room number. And my phone was actually stolen in New Orleans 2 years ago. It was stolen in New Orleans while I was on a layover. And luckily they didn't take my whole purse. It just took my phone. And when I tell you, my mom has me protected, because certain situations that I get in that I know for a fact the average person wouldn't ease out of. And I don't even realize I'm easing out of it. It's just, oh, well, this worked out. And I go on about my business. But someone was trying to steal my phone. A guy was trying to steal my phone and he was successful. But it just so happens that when I'm asking him to help me find my phone, he pulled out my phone instead of his and then caught himself and realized that he pulled out the wrong phone. Dummy. And this guy he was all over me that night. We're dancing and, he's loving on me. And I'm like, okay, this is awkward. It's only but so much smiling you can do. And when I'm not at work, I don't want a fake smile. I'm over it, And this guy was all over me. And my phone, my coworker was watching my phone. It was tucked under my purse and her purse, and it was hidden. So the fact that this guy was able to find my phone, he didn't take my wallet or my purse, he took my phone and we were able to get it back. So that's just something to think about. You know, your room key, your wallet. Do not carry this sleeve with you when you go on these layovers. Remember your room key, text it to somebody, write it down, but don't take the sleeve with you.
That's good advice, because I've made that mistake many times by taking it with me, but I'm lucky that I haven't had anybody steal it. So now I'm going to make sure that I do not take that sleeve with it, because when you think about it, they put the room number on it, the name of the hotel, all of that's on there.
I'm looking at it. This has all the information. It has how many nights I'm going to be here. It has what time I'm going to leave. It has my room number. It has the hotel. And the hotel I'm staying at is very popular. When we got dropped off here, the van driver said, "Oh, this is one of the nicest hotels that we have in the city." So they know I'm staying at one of the nicest hotels. You can only imagine what's going through their head. This sleeve has all of the information somebody needs to take advantage of me on this one sleeve.
Wow.
Now imagine if that perv that was following you got that information.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because from what you tell us, he was very consistent and fearless. He was fearless no matter what.
Can I give a shout out real quick to people that did sign on, because I don't want to forget about them. A Way of Life, which is Keisha. She's normally my co-star on my channel. She's a phenomenal astrologist, and she contacted Grandmaster Mo through Asmaa'a. Asmaa'a was the original contact, and we thank you, Queen, so much for that connection. Both of you guys are doing your hard work. You guys are amazing. Want to say hi to Shantae Thomas, Tahuti, my brother Tahuti, who's also into plant medicine and breathing, exercise, Chocolate D. Thank you for your input, beloved cousin Cheyenne, saying, Jules, she loves you. She's glad that you're safe. Love is love. They called you Baby Jules. So like she said that she's saying, hey, y'all, return to Pachamama, my vegan chef.
That's me.
Aiken Bully said that they're a nomad and they travel all over the time, all the time. And plus, as an immigrant, I have family not only in the US, so I have to travel without companions. And yes, the gap teeth is a sign of beauty.
That's Toya.
Also, Love is Love went to Singapore. Chocolate D said that they were almost kidnapped by a cop and meth head in Florida. Oh man, of 10 days. Scarlett Jean Lewis, my lovely, beautiful Leo queen. B-Pop. And who else? Beverly.
That's my mama.
Oh, look, hey, Queen.
Hey, Mama,
baby.
Jordan. And then we have John Kennedy. That's either my brother or my son. And said, who else?
Shantae Thomas. That's Shantae from my page.
Okay, thank you, Shantae, for coming on Slim's World. My beloved Slim. And my brother or my son had a lot to say in the comments. Thank you for your input. My daughter-in-law, Miranda, great advice, sis. Thank you for sharing your experience. I want to thank you all, guys, for signing on. Please share this video, because even though we're talking, we're giving a lot of phenomenal information. So what we haven't said, you can get additional information from Grandmaster Mo, because I'm going to put his information in the description. I feel so honored to, and I prayed on it because I wanted an instructor that can help direct us and tell us what to do. And you know, I'm a manifester. I'm a manifesting mofo. So what you manifest, I manifest whatever I want. So I put it out there into the ethers, and I said, please connect me to an amazing instructor. And I put it out there, and Asmaa'a said, I got the man for you. I got the king for you, the guy for you. And we have this amazing man. So please, guys, we're taking our time to share this because we need to help heal our communities and help our communities. So go ahead, continue, Master Mo. I apologize for interrupting you.
Oh, please, you're not interrupting at all. I'm just, like I said, if people want more information on training and about martial arts, my main thing in martial arts, I've done the martial arts on 2 scales. I did for competition, but I've always been a a self-defense person, self-defense guy.
Mhm.
I think martial arts is all about self-defense. I think that's why most people join. Sometimes they can get you more on a sports aspect of it, but from the self-defense, that's what I want to continue to share with people. I even have a stick, knife, gun component. I don't do nunchucks. I don't do bow and arrows. I don't do stuff I can't use or stuff they won't allow me to have in another state. Like you
Okay.
were saying earlier, it's hard when you travel. You can't have a gun. I always have a knife. I can't have my knife. You know, you go to another country, but you always have a pen, pencil,
Okay.
something that you can use. You're not looking to get into any altercation, anybody, but you want to be able to defend yourself. So the last thing I would say to you is the first thing I said, which is awareness, assessment, and action. Take action. Be aware of your surroundings. When you stop being aware of your surroundings, that's what we're looking for. The bad guys, the bad men, they're looking for you because, especially as a woman, you're the target. You're what we call a soft target, easy soft target. So what are we trying to do here? I'm looking for the soft target. What am I looking for? When she's not aware. You talked earlier about being on your cell phone. Hey, if I'm on a motorbike, which in a lot of countries, they love those motorbikes, snatch your phone, it's gone. Walking down the street, snatch your phone, it's gone. You know, you have to understand how easy that is. So when you're into your phone, especially when you're in another country, all it is a snatch and grab. And
I carry my phone on this. This is what I carry my phone on.
They'll rip that right off. That's
but
gone.
I carry, but you don't think they
half your arm is gone with that.
So
Oh,
this is dangerous.
With that.
This is
That is
dangerous.
good. I was thinking the same thing.
he said half your arm is going with that.
It's only
You
good.
think half my arm is gone? I'm kind of thick now. I think they're gonna have to do a lot of dragging to take
But
my
that
arm
thing
out.
is, if that thing isn't thick,
It's
if that's not
$1,300.
thick,
You got $1,300 phone. That thing is gone. I'm taking that. Man, I just pay, I don't know, $1,300, $1,400 phone. Kidding me? I'm snatching and grabbing that. So you gotta be very careful because everybody wants a phone. Phones are easy to sell. These are the things you gotta be careful. Jewelry, can't wear excessive jewelry. So they might be looking at you because you got excessive jewelry on. You got to be careful and ask yourself.
Oh yeah, when I go out,
really
is
it really worth it? You know, have jewelry that you like, that's good for you. But to have the jewelry that everybody likes, have the sneakers that everybody likes. But when you have the sneakers that everybody wants to wear, guess what they say in New York? What size are you?
I heard of New York is rough.
Somebody asks you what size, punch him in the face. Yeah, so why? He said, because when he asked you what size you wearing, because I was a tall kid, so I was wearing like a 13. I was wearing a man's size. So the other kids that were like 17 years old, and they found out I was 13. Oh, you 13 with size 13 shoes? You don't need these niggas. Take them off. So, you have to be very careful and also have your plan, your itinerary. So you don't travel by yourself. So for instance, you know that you're going with a tour guide today. All right, good. You know, it's not a secret trip.
Right.
I know people want to be by themselves and at peace and all that. Good. But my trip is not secret. I have to say to my wife all the time, me personally, I don't put a lot of my stuff on Facebook. I don't put a lot of my travels and my trip because I don't want people to rob me.
Right.
When people know I'm not home, they're gonna rob me. I'm not trying to let people know where I am all the time.
That is huge. But we have but if you have, there's an app that some of these, not all of them, like Comcast and I think there's a few apps that you can actually watch what's going on. Like we had our house, I had cameras everywhere because my husband would be gone at the firehouse for sometimes 2-3 days. So I had cameras everywhere, and he can actually go in the app on his phone and see what was going on in our home. But one time, all our cameras were disabled and I wasn't home. And luckily, I mean, nothing happened, but it was really weird because they don't know how the cameras went out.
But at
So
least you have a plan. You had a plan. You had a plan. A lot of people don't have that plan.
Right.
So you have to start with that plan.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a plan. You have a plan. So you can, if someone says, oh, somebody robbed me. Oh, my cameras. There you go. You had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you have a plan, you're all right. Most people don't. We don't plan.
Mm-hmm.
And when you travel and you're a woman, blue, pink, white, black, you got to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you're in somebody else's country, number one. And number two, the police are not anxious to solve cases for foreigners. Listen
to what called the embassy and that couldn't even get through to the American embassy.
This is not a movie. This is real life. Listen to what you want. But listen to what it is that's that American thing. Listen to what we want. We want people in another country
Right.
to look after and protect us or protect our family members from across the sea. You're asking a lot. They're not here for you.
That's
They're
true.
there to make sure that their people are all right. So you always got to know where you're going. Don't go to places where you don't know. I was guilty of that. I was in Jamaica and I love Jamaica. I was with this real pretty girl. I met this girl. Jamaica. She was beautiful. And I'm following her all over the place. And I was Wesley Snipes' bodyguard. We went to Jamaica. And she said, "Yeah, Wesley Snipes." And Wesley said something to her. And she started fighting them. And I was like, "Oh, man, I love this girl." So Wesley teased me. So you following her all over the place. So I go and we're in a beautiful, beautiful place.
What part of Jamaica?
Ocho Rios?
Ocho Rios?
No, starts with an M. Come on.
Oh, Montego Bay.
Montego Bay. So we're in Montego Bay. So she takes me where she lives. And there's a soccer game going on. Girl, you could smell the manliness. Like, they ain't got no deodorant. These dudes are like, and they playing soccer. Like, it's like, and I got a pocket full of money. I got a knot. I got a New York knot in my pocket. And all I'm thinking about. And if I open my mouth, they're gonna know I'm not.
They're gonna know you. Yeah, they know.
Right.
And I'm walking with one of their chicks. You understand? You walking with a Jamaican woman in Jamaica. So I'm preparing. I ain't got no knife. I ain't got no gun. All I got is crazy and karate. I'm thinking. I kept my mouth shut the whole time. And then
crazy and karate.
All I got is crazy. James Brown said I may not know karate, but I know karate. I got both of them. But I'm saying it's going down. So finally, but I'm in my manliness. This is 20 years ago, but I'm still a man. I'm still a manly guy. We doing the Blade series and all that. I'm gonna man guy.
Oh, you're doing the Blade series then. Okay.
So he hadn't done Blade yet. About to do it. So I'm all here, like I'm in a good way. And then all of a sudden she whispers to me, "Let's go." I was like, and I got out of there at the skin of my teeth.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy. What was I doing? What was I thinking?
Right.
What was I thinking? Just going, because once I walked off the beaten path, you're going into the neighborhood. And I'm thinking, crazy. And when I got away, I was like, by luck.
You was lucky.
Later on, I went to a restaurant with her, and the men were like, "Yeah, so who you, man? Are you American? You Yankee boy?" And
Yankee boy.
Now here we go, you know. So,
Right.
but the difference is nothing was going to happen with me because I was at one of the better restaurants on the island. But when you're in the neighborhood, you're by yourself.
Different.
So I know with even experience, you got to be, when you walk into that community because you want to be part of the community and you don't have a chaperone and you don't know where you're
Always get
walking.
a chaperone. Yeah.
Because she just wanted me to watch the soccer game.
Mm-hmm.
This soccer game was brutal.
You was about to see more than the soccer game. You was about to be the ball.
So brutal. Oh, I was about to be dinner. I was about to be dinner. I am not fooling myself by any means. Those dudes had a brotherhood. They know each other. And it wasn't going to be a one-man fight. They were going to all be fighting.
They're going to jump you.
She whispered to me, she said,
get jumped.
I think we're ready to go. I think we're ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Which way we out?
And you got to be careful when you speak in the other countries, because I had a little boy grab my arm and he grabbed my pocket. He like shook and is like, "Excuse me, mom, can I have some money?" And I screamed like, "Get off of me!" He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you was a foreigner." I said, "I ain't no foreigner." I said, "Oh shoot, I am in Jamaica. I am a foreigner." See how arrogant we are? We go to other countries and we think that we untouchable. You know?
That's true.
Scared the crap
My
out
wife,
of me.
we were in Trinidad. My wife, we were in Trinidad a few years ago, and my wife, I think that they, like people in the islands, they don't use air conditioning. You ever notice
They don't
that?
like it. Artificial air.
The windows down.
Mm-hmm.
So the windows down. We're standing waiting for something. We're at a great hotel, very expensive hotel. She took me there for my birthday, and some guys pull up. 3 guys in the car, and my wife is used to getting in these cars. So they start talking, you know, they Trini back and forward. My wife is Trinidadian, and they're talking back and forward. And she said, "Come on, let's get in the car, baby." I said, "No, we're not getting in the car. We're not getting in that car." I don't get in cars when I'm outnumbered.
Right.
I'm not getting that car. Now, the reason why I'm better than I was 20 years ago, because instead of a pocket full of money, first of all, I keep my money bag with me. You can buy them. They're cheap. Get yourself one of these.
Like the little fanny packs.
Put that around you. But it's the money. So it's not bulging. You put that around your waist. And then you have your throwaway money. You want to have, we used to say you have 2 sets of money. You have the money that you want the robbers to have and the money that you want to keep.
Right.
Because if a person comes up to you and try to rob you, don't have, I don't have any money, I'm going to fight. No, I'm going to take out $20, $30, and I'm going to give it to you because my real money's in here.
Well, so what about the passports? Because we leave our passports in the safe.
So where you leave your passport?
I don't be trusting them safes.
Yeah.
I'm just funny. I don't trust them safes.
It's better than losing your passport.
Yeah, because you're gonna pay $500,000.
If you're safe, if your safe is not safe, your room is not safe. Because your safe is connected to your room. So if your safe is not safe, your room is not safe. However, it's easy for you to leave your passport in a hotel, or leave it in a restaurant, or leave it someplace, and then it's a pain in the behind.
Yeah,
it's just such a pain in the neck. Always have, but you have to have ID with you. That can be your. Now, what I did, I took my passport is also in my phone.
Yeah,
so I have my passport because I'm going to have my phone with me. Right?
Mine is too.
Me too.
My passport is in my phone. My actual passport, I probably would leave it in the safe.
Okay.
Leave it even leave it in my luggage. But I don't want to lose that passport. I don't want to get.
No, you don't want to lose that. Because I've heard people have to spend $1,000 to get another passport at the embassy.
Yeah, that's how they make money.
To get a 24-hour passport. Within
I did
24
not
hours.
know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you just got hope that it doesn't happen to you. But if you have a plan,
Right.
you can go pretty, all of you guys have traveled. So you kind of, we're giving it to people that don't travel. A lot of people who want to start to travel. Like you said earlier, I want to really encourage people to travel, because then you'll realize that this is not the greatest country in the world.
Nope.
This is not. You'll realize this is not what you think it is.
There's a whole world outside there.
It's got the greatest media. The
Mm-hmm.
greatest media. They want to control everything. That's why they only want you to learn one language. Speak American.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You go to other countries, everybody's trilingual.
Yeah.
They speak 3-4 languages. Yup, you're right.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Professor. I'm on my 25th language. What? I ain't know there's 25 languages. I'm just joking, but
No, everybody
that,
I know that doesn't speak just English, they speak at least 4 languages, 3 to 4 languages.
People be surprised when I be speaking Spanish. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
it's normal everywhere else. Like, it's only here that people speak one language and expect to go other places and expect the world to speak their language. Like, the one thing I hated about traveling was when I would be with Americans, like even that trip that I did in Spain, they would be like, oh, is there any American food around here? And I'm sitting here like, we in Europe. Like, what you mean?
Right. Why would you go
How
to
do you
another
say
country
that?
and not
That's
eat their food?
offensive. Yeah, that's
I
the
remember
thing. Go ahead.
My oldest daughter went to India because and I wanted to go for the experience because one of my grandmothers was from India. She was actually a mail order bride from India. And she was going to India to meet a distributor because she's a cosmetologist and she makes wigs and so forth. And I wanted to go. So I was living in Massachusetts at the time and I could not get a visa because there was so much corruption in the Northeastern region that he had shut down immigration to get a visa unless if you weren't Indian from India, you couldn't get a visa or born, your parents were Indian. And I tried to get a visa. She got her visa in DC within 2 days. So she went by herself. I was so worried about her. So she has these long blonde braids, like you were saying how you had the braids, but she wore their attire, their traditional attire. And she's lighter than me. And she, everywhere she went, just like she did with Jules, was staring at her. And so many men were trying to get her to go with them. Because she was not normal to see someone like her complexion with long blonde braids, beautiful like Jules. She went with the distributor by herself. Never forget this story. She went with the distributor by herself, and he had this really tall, abnormal tall Indian man. And he kept like staring at her like, what are you doing here? Staring Diamond down. Diamond, my daughter Diamond is like, I've seen her. Diamond is one person, she has no fear. She will fight a grown man with no problemo. And she said that the tall guy, Indian guy, the shorter one, who was the main man, he was nice to her, but the tall guy just kept staring at her and like looking at her really evil. And I said, well, what did you do, Diamond? Because I stayed on the phone with her the whole time, but I wasn't able to because her service went out when they went to the warehouse to look at the hair. And she said, I looked him back in his eyes. Because I said, if I'm gonna look my killer in the eyes, he gonna kill me. I said, Diamond, are you kidding me? But luckily, with my prayers, she got back home safely. But she said she was actually scared when she went by herself because I really didn't want her to go by herself. But she said every time she would go to eat, there was this one particular man, like he was following her. And he would appear wherever she was eating at. And one thing my brother, who is on the sheriff's department here, he's a sergeant, and he said, they're watching you from the time you get off the plane. They clock it.
But that's all country. I promise that happened to me in Singapore. Leaving Singapore, I was in Singapore for almost a week and we were coming back, and the person I was with at the time that I went to Singapore with, they pulled her aside and said she was flagged coming into the country. So they know.
And then your father got flagged when we went to Portugal. They flagged him 3 times leaving Portugal. They flagged him when we went to TSA. They flagged him after we got our TSA, and they flagged him again before we got on the plane.
Yeah.
So
you know what that reminds me of? One time I was on the train in the Bronx, right? I used to commute real far to go home to work. And I always took my nap on the train, but I made sure not to sleep too deep. And I remember one day I was knocked out sleeping, and it was like my ancestors and my spirit guides was like, get up. I had my headphones on, listening to music, sleeping. Something was like, get up. And I woke up, opened my eyes. Saw these 2 dudes standing by me. One of them was like in front of me, and the other one was by the door. And it was like they was gonna get me for something. I didn't know what it was. And when the guy realized I was looking at him, then he stopped. So then I made sure to get off at the wrong stop.
Right.
Then I noticed they tried to follow me, but I got off at the stop that was real crowded. Because I was like, I gotta, you know what I mean? Like them street smarts kicking real fast at the right time. I'm very blessed. So I got off and I noticed I went and dipped in between people because it was crowded. And I noticed one of them kept looking and they started arguing with each other. And I saw it, I was reading their lips. He said, where did she go? I don't know if they were trying to rob me. I don't know if they were trying to take me. I don't know what they was trying to do. But that joint was crazy. I was just like I was sleeping and something was just like, get up.
But you were aware.
Right.
Yeah.
You were aware. You were aware. You made an assessment and you took action. Taking action was going to the next car and getting off when it was crowded. The one thing because I got to leave pretty soon, but I
got to leave too. This live went a little longer than I anticipated. I'm sorry, Pastor Mo.
Don't ever carry weapons you don't know how to use. All right. So there was this guy maybe 15 years ago. He was raping women, and they were on the last car where they were getting them. So the woman knew about him. She read about him. They reported it. So she decided that she wanted to have a screwdriver for protection. She got off the train. She was in the last car. Who did she see?
Him.
The rapist. What does she take out? The screwdriver. What does he do? Takes it from her, rapes her, and stabs her a couple of times just because. And when he stabbed her, he let her know, I'm stabbing you because you know about me, bitch.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I always say to people,
yikes on a bite.
Don't think that putting something sharp in your purse or something is
you don't know how
going
to use
to help and don't know how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love things like Afro picks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Eyes, throat, growing. What did I tell you?
Eyes, throat, and growing.
Why do you have an Afro pick? You don't use an Afro pick. But when you have something like a screwdriver or something like a knife, I know what your intent is.
Right.
But if you have something that I don't understand why you have it, it's easier for you to use those kinds of things. The screwdriver, I know even a police officer, when he goes through your pocketbook or through your belongings, he goes, oh, screwdriver, or he wants to do damage. Oh, knife, you got a knife here. Yeah, we know what he wants to do. We know what he wants to do. But if he goes well, he killed him with a pencil or a pen. He didn't know. They didn't know. That's why I was able to carry that anywhere. I can carry that anywhere. I can't carry
was handy.
I can't carry this anywhere. But when I'm at home, I always have it with me. But I can't carry this anywhere with me. But a pen, pencil, I can always have that. So I'm just so for things that you can use.
I carry a pencil every time I go out.
Mouth blades, because remember when people start spitting out the mouth blades back in the day and would slice?
Yeah.
Would you recommend like a mouth?
No, because first of all, the blade.
Man, what
about
kind of
Blade.
damage you trying to do?
You know,
About
so
Blade?
if you giving him
He's
a
from New
buck
York.
50, if you give him a buck 50, what did you make him? You made him angry. Now instead of a robbery, he's gonna kill you. So give him a buck 50 is not a good idea. You know,
I'm not
plus
messing with her. She
you don't
said,
want to.
"Hey,
You got to know how to carry one in your mouth. Everybody doesn't know how to do that. That's the whole New York.
that's
A
your-"
matter of fact, the character in my movie that I just did, he spits the blade. We call it spitting the blade. And he looks at this person and he goes and spits the blade. So we call that spitting the blade. And the reason why I put that in the movie is because that's something that everybody in the neighborhood knows about. But Hollywood don't know about that yet.
Yeah.
So that's why I did spit the blade.
Look, I was not playing. I love it.
But don't you have a movie coming out on Netflix? Can you tell us about the movie coming out on Netflix?
It's Blood Mix.
Blood Mix?
It's my first horror film.
Oh, it's
But
a horror
meanwhile-
movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's about an immortal. I used to like these movies, these Excalibur type movies. I used to like to watch, and where the Irish guy they rape his wife, kill his child, and he goes, Odin,
Oh my God.
give me the power to destroy my enemy.
Mm-hmm.
He live forever until his blood no longer exists.
All right.
So I always said when I was watching these movies, I go, wait, how come we ain't never made a deal?
Mm-hmm.
He said, what do you mean? How come Black people, with all the trauma that we've gone through, we've never made a deal? Our houses have been burned, wives have been taken, children have been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So what if somebody made a deal with a Black god? So I looked at all the gods and I said, Ogun, he is the god of
You're doing a movie about
technology.
Ogun?
No, Ogun is the god in the movie.
Okay.
So what happens is his mother is enslaved. So she's enslaved at 11 years old. By the time she's 13, she's pregnant and she has this son. They name her son Jeremiah Crow. Name her son Jeremiah Crow because the slave master's last name was Crow. It was another name, but he was a $5 Indian. He tried to be a $5 Indian. So he got his land that was supposed to be going to the Indians. But that's a bigger story. You gotta know a little history for that.
Okay.
So what happens is she prayed for 40 years to put a protection spell on her son because she thought the slave master was going to sell him or kill him. So what happened was Ogun gave this guy everlasting life. So that's how he became an immortal. So he's an immortal.
Okay.
But he's a tormented immortal because he can't sleep, he can't eat, he doesn't have relations. So he doesn't like being an immortal. He's like, when is this gonna be over? So he lived to be 356 years.
This is the movie?
Yeah, it's a movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
When is your
Like,
movie?
that's why
we gotta watch that movie.
When is it
That's
coming
why it's
out?
called, probably going into the fall. That's why it's called Blood Mixed.
Blood Mixed.
Because all of us, all Black Americans are of mixed blood. Most Black Americans are West African. We come through the Middle Passage. A couple of us, if you do our ancestry, Central Africa, because people came from Central Africa to West Africa because of the fish, because of trade, because of ships and food. But you'll find that most Black Americans are West African. I know a lot of us want to say we're from Egypt, but Egypt is part of our family.
A lot of people ain't from Egypt. They claim Egypt.
We was
They took us from the West. So in taking him, he's so the African God is a West African God that you share with your Haitian brothers. You share with your Brazilian brothers and sisters. You share those gods with your Trinidadian brothers and sisters. You share those gods with, so you share those gods, you know who they are. But I was saying, just like Odin, Odin is a European Nordic god, right?
Okay.
And when you deal with the Irish, you're going to deal with those kinds of folklore and those kinds of gods. So anyway, he's on his quest. Blood mixed. You know, all of us have a last name. None of us have African last names. All of us are mixed. I know a lot of us go, you light skin, you dark skin, you this, you that. You still Johnson and I'm still Thomas. So he's on a quest. He's on a quest to understand and know who he is. But there's a lot of martial arts, which everybody likes. But the movie I have out now at Tubi is called Love, Sex, and Kung Fu. 3 things that I believe men love.
I saw that last night.
Yeah, you can see it on Tubi.
Know that movie, y'all.
So make sure you guys have a chance to see that. And then later on, I'll be doing my other film, which will be the first film I did, which is The Empty Hands.
Okay.
That's the one with Isaac Hayes.
That's the one with Isaac Hayes. I'm going to look that up now. Is that on Netflix too?
No.
Okay.
It's going to probably, we're talking to Tubi and we're talking to Hulu right now. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Oh, it's not out yet. Okay.
No, that's not out yet.
Negotiating.
All right, guys.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, keep us posted. I would love to have you back again, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're talking to you guys, but we're almost at 8:30.
I know we weren't supposed to go this long. We're supposed to be an hour, but we're having so much fun.
Yes.
I want to thank you, Master Mo, for coming on to share your information. Thank you guys for staying on with us for 2 hours. I wasn't planning for the show to be this long, but Karen is sharing, and I'm so glad that we're able to show guys a safer way out so that you are not trapped in this matrix and going down the wrong rabbit hole, because there's many out here. And make sure you share your location services and do the tips that Master Mo said, the tips that Asmaa'a said, the tips that Jules said. Talk about it. Join some type of self-defense course in your local neighborhood, or he's going to be doing some things on his YouTube channel. So follow that. I'm going to share that in the description. If I by any chance don't get a chance to share in the description, once you see this video, you can always email me at Dawn, DAWN Spirits, SPIRITK @gmail.com, or my website, which is queendawnspirit.com. Please, guys, be safe. I'm sending you all Reiki healing, love, and protection. I love you guys so much. And I just want you guys to be safe. Stay off them cell phones, guys, when you're out. Yeah. If you don't have a wingman to cover your back, okay? Don't think you're invincible. Okay, protect yourself and protect yours, and teach your children. And and men too, don't think you can go out there by yourself, don't have a wingman. You heard what Master Mo just said. He was with his son, and he's got several black belts. Don't think that you're invincible, because there's always somebody a little stronger than you.
That's true.
You know what they say about black people? Black people are never alone, because there's always somebody watching us.
So, Master Mo, did you want to share before we shut up?
YouTube. Let's get on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. You won't see a lot of videos up now, but I'm going to start putting videos up. So be the first to come on and subscribe to the channel. It's the 52 Block Federation. I'm going to have a lot of martial art experts that will be there and help people on how to protect themselves. Okay, guys. I'm going to sign off.
Namaste. I say, guys.
We say,
Thank you.
This is good.